Do you have any doubt that those things are rights?
No, but they are self-evident, yes.
Do you have any doubt that, say, the law of non-contradiction is self-evident?
So for the moral argument, if I'm not mistaken, it goes that you say that everyone knows intuitively deep down that like murder or genocide is wrong, correct? And
that's true, but it's not necessary for the argument. You could find
Could you just restate it for me briefly? Sorry.
Yeah, well, the argument says, I mean, the official argument would go something like this, that if there is no God, objective moral values don't exist. Objective moral values do exist, therefore God exists.
I guess my questioning just goes towards objective morality. Why do you find it reasonable, or why are you persuaded that objective morality does exist without directly referring to God's existence?
Good question. A friend of mine who teaches at UT Austin, his name is 𝗦𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗔𝗟. He's written some amazing books. One of them is called What You Can't Not Know. He's a professor. Sometimes people would come into his class and say, "Professor, how do you even know that murder's wrong?" And 𝗦𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏 would try and go through all these gyrations to try and convince the kid that murder was wrong. And he finally said, "I stopped doing that." Why? Because the kid already knows murder's wrong. I just ask him, "Do you have any doubt that murder's wrong?" And 99 times out of 10, the kid would say, "No, I have no doubt, of course." In other words, it's such a deep intuition that murder's wrong or torturing babies for fun is wrong, that you would need some incredible evidence to suggest otherwise, what philosophers would call a defeater. There's no defeater that I can imagine that could come into my life that would say that torturing babies for fun isn't wrong. It's something I already know.
Well, if you assume that it's already objectively wrong, like I can't quite articulate the circularity that I'm trying to point out, but it seems that if you assume that it's objectively wrong and then you state that objective morality indicates God, you're kind of already presupposing God there. And even if God is a necessary measurement against which objective morality can be measured, even if it's a necessary measurement for objective morality, that doesn't necessarily prove that that measurement exists.
I don't know if I followed that, but let me go back to your first part of that.
It's like if I need a meter stick, if I don't have a meter stick, like then I can't. Like,
well, if you don't have a meter stick, are you trying to say
that's kind of a bad example because meter sticks we know the meter sticks exist. I'm just saying, even if God isn't necessary, even if a perfect being justifies measuring, objective morality against that thing, that doesn't necessarily prove that measurement, that standard, exists.
Yeah, but you've heard of self-evident truths, I assume. They're part of our founding, right?
Sure, yeah.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, life lived in pursuit of happiness, right? Do you have any doubt that those things are rights?
No, but they are self-evident, yes.
Do you have any doubt that, say, the law of non-contradiction is self-evident?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you couldn't, because if you said, no matter what you said, you're still using the law of non-contradiction, right? In other words, there are certain things that are self-evident that you do know. Now, you could do this. You could go through all this evidence and try and show that God exists and say God is the supreme good being and therefore whatever he says is right. But you already intuitively know that. And let me go back to what 𝗦𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who was an atheist who debated William Lane Craig. I don't know if you know who both those people are, but 𝗦𝗢𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, an atheist, said something at the end of her debate with William Lane Craig that actually hurt her position. She admitted something. She said this, and I'm paraphrasing. She said, "Any argument for atheism will be built on weaker premises than the fact that I already know that certain moral truths are true." In other words, your intuition that torturing babies for fun is so much stronger than any evidence you could get that atheism is true, that you should just go with the fact that torturing babies for fun is wrong and therefore God exists. If Christianity were true, would you be a Christian?
If it were proved to be true to me, then yes.
What do you mean by proof?
Well, I don't know everything just because it's true. I have to be shown that something's true before.
Okay, well, that's what apologists try and do. So if I gave you a book, would you read it?
If I felt like it would be relatively persuasive, sure, yeah.
Well, you don't know until you read it.
Well, by talking to you.
If I were to give you my book, would you read it?
Yeah, it seems fairly interesting.
Okay, well then I'll give you one out there. Don't go away. I'll give it to you at the end, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right.